Judge Lake kicks things off, announcing we're about to dive into a paternity circus with the case of Renfrow versus Toozy. The courtroom's buzzing like a beehive, all set for a baby daddy drama fest.
This is the case of Renfrow versus Toozy.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Renfrow, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetic passed down by the defendant.
Ms. Renfrow steps up, totally sure Mr. Toozy is the dad of little Kendall, who's got a tricky health issue. She's all about today's DNA drama. Strap in, because Mr. Toozy's about to shake things up.
He hasn't been there. He wasn't there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, my baby, he wasn't there. For his surgery, he wasn't there. I contacted him. I tried to let him know, and it was still nothing. No response, no forget about, nothing.
So you're saying, Ms. Renfrow, that Mr. Toozy hasn't shown any care, concern about...
He's never even seen my son.
The tension's so thick you could slice it as Mr. Toozy denies being the dad, itching for the test results to prove him right. Things are about to get spicy.
One time, and that was it, and I realized the baby just don't look nowhere near like...
So you admit you have not stepped up to the plate for the baby because you truly don't believe this child is your child.
I looked at the baby, look, the baby looks way too white.
Okay,
I'm white.
So Ms. Renfrow...
I'm white.
Ms. Renfrow throws shade, accusing Mr. Toozy of running from daddy duties because he doesn't want to pay up. She spills the beans on his MIA status during her tough times. Let's see how Mr. Toozy swings back.
Yeah, we started out friends, like we met through mutual friends, and it was sexual, and we talked about being in a relationship, and then when I found out I was pregnant, I took 7 pregnancy tests.
You discover you're pregnant?
Yes.
And at that point, you say Mr. Toozy just backed off?
Yeah, there was no contact after that. He ignored my calls, messages, blocked me.
Big reveal time. Mr. Toozy admits to a one-night whoopsie at Miss Renfrow's place, but says that's it. He thinks the kid doesn't even look like him. Everyone's eyes are glued to Judge Lake now.
It wasn't
The
no
dudes
ex.
that she had sex with before, and I know this fact.
5 months prior to...
What did the text messages say, sir?
I really don't remember what he said. I just kind of glanced through it.
Which indicated that you may not be the biological father of a child, and you can't remember none of them?
It's not that I don't remember, I just didn't know what
He was
said to
being
her.
nosy and trying to find something.
Ms. Renfrow talks about how Mr. Toozy ghosted her after the pregnancy news. She's painting him as the king of dodging. Just when you thought it was just about a baby, we dive into medical drama.
Do you
Fine.
remember being in a sexual relationship with Ms. Renfrow?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Do you remember not using protection?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember that's how you make a baby?
Yes, ma'am. But only reason why I said it land my baby is because I was with this girl for 5 years, and we was having unprotected sex, and I didn't get her pregnant. And not only that, about 2 years ago, me and my good friend, we had sex, and she got pregnant.
Here comes the health talk. Ms. Renfrow says Kendall's condition is in the genes. Mr. Toozy's like, not in my family. Things are getting twisty with a medical expert waiting in the wings.
My son has a issue with his stomach. He was born with what you call Hirschberger's disease, and it's passed through genetic. And none of my other kids have it. I had sex with him, got pregnant, and my son had to have surgery at 6 days old. He had to have part of his intestine removed.
So, Your Honor, I don't have any type of medical condition.
Ms. Renfrow gets teary about solo parenting and needing to pin down the dad for Kendall's health. The room's holding its breath for the doc's scoop.
He just needs to take responsibility for his child.
Were you intimate with anybody else during the window of time when Kendall was conceived?
No, Your Honor.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong to. I don't just lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected. And when I do have sex...
And why would you have another guy signing the birth certificate?
Dr. Gator steps up, talking about the disease and throwing in a curveball. It might not be inherited. Everyone's on the edge of their seats as she starts dishing out the science.
To have to raise this child without the man you say is biological father and go through all of this medical, I mean, look, when you're having a medical issue, everybody knows the first thing they ask you is your family history. You're not able to give a lot of the information related to Mr. Toozy's side if in fact he is the child's biological father.
Because he ignores me.
Because he won't cooperate.
Ms. Renfrow's friend Kristen takes the stand, trying to back her up but also slipping up about Ms. Renfrow's love life. The crowd's prepping for a plot twist with the DNA reveal.
Please stand, ma'am. State your name for the court.
I'm Kristen.
What testimony can you offer related to the paternity of baby Kendall?
Well, like Danielle said, if that's his dad, that's his dad. I believe her. I don't believe she's a lie. If there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it.
Oops, turns out Ms. Renfrow's been busy. She admits to a few other flings, which makes everyone second guess her story. DNA results are up next, and it's gonna be a doozy.
I messed with
How many
somebody.
men were you sleeping with when you conceived your child?
One.
Testify to that.
One.
So what's the one your best friend remembers?
Okay, yeah, there was a dude before I got pregnant, but we did use a condom, and it was just once.
And what planet do you live on where condoms are 100% effective?
Well, when it's like
I have a lot of people that need to move. move there.
Judge Lake's all about keeping it real for the kid's sake. The DNA results are about to drop, and the suspense is killer.
Miss Renfro, it does matter though. I just don't want you to convince yourself of this lie. Like, you understand that who you slept during the window of time before Kendall was conceived is relevant. Did you sleep with him a month before you found out you were pregnant, or a month before the window of conception you were given? Two different things.
It was before I found out I was pregnant. I'm not even gonna, but we used a condom, so I know who my kids belong to, and.
DNA truth bomb drops. Everyone's jaws meet floor.
Mr. Tuesday, you are not the father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops.
Do you know who is?
Yes, ma'am. If he wasn't the father, then yes, ma'am, I know.
Hold on. No. Look, little smart mouth, because you done got on my nerves now. Sitting up trying to pin a baby on a man. Hold on, I'm talking now. Since all you can do is shrug your shoulders all the time, never testifying to the whole truth. And that's wrong.
And we're off to a rollicking start in the courtroom. The session kicks off with Jerome, the court officer, calling out the day's case, Hilburn vs. Barnes. Both parties are ushered in and given a warm welcome by the judge. As they settle in, you can't help but sense the brewing drama.
This is a case of Hilburn versus Barnes.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. You admit that you've been caught up in a love triangle for the past 3 years, which you say resulted in the birth of your 10-month-old daughter, Saray.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Mr. Barnes dives into his tale of woe, recounting the heartbreak of discovering Ms. Hilburn's betrayal on none other than Valentine's Day. Just when he thought they were patching things up, she continued her affair. The plot thickens, and you won't believe what's next.
Discovered Ms. Hilburn was cheating on you on Valentine's Day. Ended, but soon after giving Ms. Hilburn another chance, discovered she was still sleeping with other man. And while you're hoping you are Saray's father, you do have doubts.
Mr. Barnes recounts how deeply involved he's been in the child's life, from doctor's appointments to ultrasounds, even trying to sign the birth certificate, only to hit a snag because Ms. Hilburn is still legally married to another guy. The audience is just as shocked as you are. But wait, there's more chaos to come.
It's a father-daughter relationship. I was there from start to finish. Ultrasounds, I was there when she was born. I signed all the paperwork to be on the birth certificate. Well, I couldn't be because she is still legally married, so I was not able to be put on it.
Ready for a twist? Ms. Hilburn gives us the lowdown on her complicated love life, revealing her ongoing affairs with Mr. Barnes and another mystery man, spinning a web of drama that's the textbook definition of a love triangle. Just when you think you figured it out, the story evolves.
I met Mr. Barnes through an ex of mine. He was friends with him, and we developed a relationship and started sleeping together, and then we started to have issues, and I met another guy and started to sleep with him behind Mr. Barnes's back.
Grab your detective hats because this mystery deepens. Mr. Barnes recounts the dubious Valentine's Day Eve when secrets started to spill. With all involved parties under one roof, tensions were bound to rise. The revelations keep coming, and your jaw will drop at what happens next.
Before Valentine's Day, which is the first time it happened, she said she's going to her friends. Okay, fine, go ahead. I get home, I try texting her, try calling her, no response. Miss Hilburn and the other gentleman come back to the house. They're brought by the people that they stayed with, by the people who brought them, that they had slept together that night.
That is not true.
He had been telling him that she was not with anybody at that point in time.
Ever heard of a living situation this sticky? The judge can barely keep up with the bizarre living arrangement that Ms. Hilburn describes. She was juggling both men while they all shared the same address. You'll want to stick around to see how this entanglement unravels.
Are you sleeping with both of them while you live in the house with both of them, Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, I was.
I'm not trying to give anyone tips, but how did you pull that off?
He would go to work. As soon as he left, me and the other guy would have sex.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Mr. Barnes expresses his dismay and confusion over the tangled web of lies spun by Ms. Hilburn, while she coolly admits to manipulating the situation. The drama escalates, and trust me, you'll want to see how this pans out.
Dumb enough to believe her lie.
She was never told. If I would have known at that point in time that there was another gentleman she was messing around with, it would not have been.
He said it was going to be different. That's why he's still sleeping with me in the present.
Mr. Barnes, are you still intimate with Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, ma'am.
As the tension mounts, emotions run high. The couple debates the timeline of their tumultuous relationship, highlighting the emotional roller coaster they've been on since Saria's birth. The stakes are high, and the next revelations are even more jaw-dropping.
I did tell him before the baby was born that there was a chance that she could not be his.
You told me 2 months after Saray was born.
You nodded affirmatively. He does love her, right?
And when I told him, he didn't want to believe that she wasn't his.
And that breaks your heart because you did finally try to tell the truth.
Yes,
And then he
it did.
didn't want to believe you.
Time for some courtroom action. The judge decides it's time to cut through the chaos with DNA tests for Saria and prenatal testing for Ms. Hilburn's unborn child. This decision aims to bring some clarity to the convoluted situation. You won't believe the results, so stay tuned.
Saray happened before we even got together. She was born before we got together.
So she knows about Saray?
Yes, she's been told possible that it's possibly mine.
She believes
All right.
stronger than father. No.
So this is just a bona fide mess. Really? Because basically the other guy is just having sex with you and using you.
Yes.
Here comes the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and they're about to turn the courtroom upside down.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Barnes, you are not Saray's father.
Can you believe we're starting off like this? The case of Van Meter versus Watkins kicks off with a bang. The judge calls the court to order, and the plaintiff, Miss Van Meter, steps up with a sense of urgency, determined to prove the paternity of her son, Cedric, after her recent health scare. She's hopeful that getting the defendant's name on the birth certificate will bring some stability. Grab your popcorn, because this is just the beginning.
Ms. Van Meter, after a recent medical scare, you realized it is imperative that you prove to the defendant that he is the biological father of your 3-year-old son, Cedric, so you can put his name on the birth certificate. Our hopeful today's result will help save your family.
This next part is a roller coaster. Mr. Watkins lays out his paternity doubts, which have put a strain on his relationship with Miss Van Meter. Despite their breakup over her infidelity, he has remained to play dad to Cedric and Miss Van Meter's other child, who also lacks a father figure. Strap in, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Ms. Van Meter, what is the current status of your relationship?
We are not in a relationship. We just live together at the moment. We broke up because of the simple fact that I cheated, and he has just stayed and he's been there throughout everything, throughout the whole birth, throughout my son being 3 now. He's just played his dad the whole time. I don't really know why he stayed. I just know he has stayed.
Hold on to your seats. This twist is something else. Doubts about Cedric's paternity are fueled by Miss Van Meter's secretive behavior with her phone, which Mr. Watkins caught on to. It all blew up when he caught her in a compromising situation in a car, escalating their issues and casting further doubt on his role in Cedric's life. The plot thickens, so stay tuned.
How did you find out she was cheating?
I saw her on the couch texting, but I could clearly see what she's doing. She's texting and deleting messages. Pretty much was arguing about it, the fact, what she was saying, and I was like, you wasn't saying that because you deleted them. I was coming back. One of her family picked me up and told me that they saw her outside in the car doing what she was doing with the dude.
What?
Yeah.
You said doing what she's doing.
Pretty much she was having sex in the back of the car.
You won't see this coming. As emotions run high, the discussion turns to the possibility that Cedric might actually be fathered by another man, the one Miss Van Meter was caught with. Mr. Watkins, despite his doubts, passionately speaks about his commitment to being a father figure, driven by his own childhood experiences. The emotional roller coaster doesn't stop here. There's more drama ahead.
Do you have any additional doubt or evidence?
I don't really have a bond with him. Like, I love him, but every time I see him, I just see him the same way I see her daughter, her kids. I just see him as this cute kid. He's cute and he's awesome. And we play fight all the time. Sometimes he don't know when to stop. I'm like, man, all right, good done.
So, Mr. Watkins, when you look at, do you see the other guy?
He looks nothing like the other person. He looks like him.
This is a heart stopper. In an emotionally charged moment, Miss Van Meter reveals her hope that the paternity results will confirm Mr. Watkins as the father, particularly because she wants stability for Cedric given her health concerns. The stakes are high as both parties acknowledge the looming possibility of another man being Cedric's biological father. The tension is building, and you won't believe what happens next.
These paternity results will save the relationship.
That
Where?
ain't because I had a scare about my cancer and I had a biopsy done. At the end of the day, if something happens to me, I want my son to know who his dad is. I want him to be there for that person and to know that he loves him and all that.
Who is on Cedric's birth certificate? Who's listed as father?
Nobody. I'm the only one on there.
But he has Mr. Watkins' last name.
He named him.
Wait till you see this climax. The court finally delivers the paternity results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Watkins, you are the father.
The court session begins as the judge allows everyone to be seated and greets them. The case of Valdez-Lark versus Pitts-Slater is announced. The participants exchange pleasantries, setting a formal yet tense atmosphere. You won't believe what's coming next in this roller coaster of legal drama.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Valdez-Lark versus Pitts-Slater.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
As things heat up, Judge Lake dives right into the heart of the matter. Judge Lake addresses Miss Valdez-Lark, who explains that her engagement to Mr. Slater is on hold because she suspects he fathered his ex's child. Miss Valdez-Lark's distress is evident as she discusses the uncertainty about Mr. Slater's fidelity and paternity of the child named Harmony. The gravity of the situation is underscored by her emotional state. Get ready, because the plot is about to thicken even further.
Your engagement to your fiancé is on hold. You're determined today if he cheated on you and fathered his 1-year-old daughter, Harmony. You are that ex and are not only here today to prove paternity, that he is still attempting to have a sexual relationship with you.
You'll need to see this to believe it. Mr. Slater denies being the father of Harmony, claiming he hasn't had sexual contact with Miss Pitts for years. The tension escalates as Miss Pitts counters Mr. Slater's assertions, insisting on his involvement. The interaction reveals deep disputes and unresolved issues between the ex-partners. Strap in. This emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
There's no way you are Harmony's father because you have not had sexual contact with Miss Pitts in years. How did you find out Miss Pitts was pregnant and your fiance was the father?
Back in September 2012, I received a phone call from their 12-year-old daughter stating that Miss Pitts would like to speak with me.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, a phone call from the past surfaces. A complex backstory unfolds involving a phone call from Miss Pitts' daughter, leading to Miss Valdez-Lark learning about the pregnancy. Miss Pitts expresses her intention was not to create drama, but to address the paternity issue necessary for an adoption process she was considering. This revelation introduces additional layers to the conflict, involving multiple family members and sensitive decisions. And guess what? It's about to get even messier.
And she wanted to speak, so I was like, fine, put your mother on the phone. I will speak with her.
I have been trying to get in touch with Mr. Slater
to sign some papers.
I could not get in touch with him.
Correct. So I was her
to
last hope to get in contact with Mr. Slater. I will call you back. Let me get in touch with him so we can continue the conversation, because I wasn't going to continue the conversation without him being in there.
Hold on to your popcorn, because here comes a direct confrontation. Mr. Slater, maintaining a low profile initially, is directly questioned by Judge Lake about his belief in his paternity of Harmony. He firmly denies it, attributing Miss Pitts' claims to an alleged obsession with him. This denial sets the stage for further confrontations and the exploration of his past relationships and actions. You won't want to miss what's coming up next.
You're mighty quiet over there. You get this call, and do you believe you're the father? You don't?
No, Your Honor, because I haven't had sex with her.
So why would she say, if you had sex with her at all, why would she just come up with your name like you the father?
Because she obsessed with me. Every relationship I be in, I got her.
Why?
Brace yourselves for the moment of truth. The climactic moment arrives as the paternity test results are revealed. Tensions peak in the courtroom as everyone awaits the verdict that will significantly impact multiple lives.
Mr. Slater, you are her father.
Keep on lying. Now play with it. Don't get it. Don't marry him. Now play with it.
Mr. Cawley spills the beans on a pivotal moment that rocked their relationship, detailing how he discovered Ms. Winters in bed with another man. The courtroom gasps as he lays it all out, with Judge Lake almost dropping her gavel in surprise. Ms. Winters quickly tries to patch things up with an explanation about their rocky relationship status at that time. You won't believe what's coming up next.
Well, what kind of issues from the past? Explain.
Betrayal, me catching her in the bed with another guy.
We were kind of broken up and having problems at the time. Before that, I had caught him talking to another girl. So
Wait a minute, don't skip over that catching in the bed part. Mr. Cawley, tell me what happened. You said you caught her in the bed with somebody else.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I was away, and the moment I got home, I was ready to just flop in the bed. I had been away for a minute.
As the plot thickens, Mr. Cawley airs his doubts about fathering Amoni, pointing fingers at Ms. Winters' alleged wanderlust. Ms. Winters fires back, accusing Mr. Cawley of not being Mr. Perfect himself and detailing his flirty texts with other women. The tension in the room could be cut with a knife, and just when you think it can't escalate further, the next moment ramps it up.
I believe the only reason she told me about that is to cover up the other things that she did. Guys being at the house, her hanging out with other guys and stuff like that.
I admitted at the time I was talking to other guys and stuff. A couple months before that, I had just found out he was with some girl. I just can't prove he cheated, and he won't be man enough to tell me he cheated. I just kind of strung away from the relationship.
Because I didn't cheat.
You all have all this going on, and Mr. Cawley, you're saying because of all of this, you have doubt concerning Amani's paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Transitioning to domestic details, Mr. Cawley describes their move-in live-in drama, and his stepdad duties to Ms. Winters' other kids. He talks about the weight of these new responsibilities with a hint of pride and a touch of overwhelm. It's a real peek behind the curtain of their everyday lives. Stick around because the emotional roller coaster is about to go for another loop.
The main problems started happening because, we started getting more serious. We had more problems. And
As soon as we got our first place, that's exactly when we started going downhill.
Why? Said it was too much responsibility for you, Mr. Cawley.
I'm a young man. I have no kids, helping her take care of her 2 kids.
Oh, so when you moved in together, Ms. Winters had 2 other children.
2 other children.
Prior to this
but
relationship.
I had them when I met him too, so.
In a soap opera-worthy twist, the couple hits a brief pause on their relationship, only for Ms. Winters to find out she's expecting. The plot thickens with the baby news, stirring up a mix of hope and uncertainty about their shared future and the baby's paternity. Fasten your seatbelts as the next reveal is just around the corner.
And so after this incident, you all decided to break up?
We did for maybe a week or 2.
But at some point, you come up pregnant.
We ended up getting back together at the end of 2013, and we pretty much were like, look, we're either gonna stay together and quit all this, we're just gonna break up.
We did make an agreement that we weren't gonna mess around and do all that no more. Around the time that she said that she was pregnant with Amani, her family member told me that she was at the house with the guy that I asked her not to be.
Hold on to your popcorn because the lie detector results are in, and they're juicier than a ripe peach in summer. Ms. Winters is caught in a fib about her fidelity since the end of 2013. The crowd's reaction is priceless, and the couple's future hangs in the balance. The revelations keep coming, and you won't want to miss what happens next.
Have you had sexual intercourse with anyone other than Michael since the end of 2013? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
Now, that's not true.
Are you currently hiding a sexual or romantic relationship with another man from Michael? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
What?
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the paternity test results are finally unveiled.
Calling, you are the father.
Buckle up, the courtroom drama is just heating up. Judge Lake introduces the case of Thompson versus Lee, where Ms. Thompson accuses Ms. Lee of harassing her family for financial gains following her brother's untimely demise. She is determined to prove that he is not the father of Ms. Lee's 3-month-old daughter, thereby protecting her brother's legacy. Just when you think you've seen it all, the next moment is ready to top it.
Ms. Thompson, you say that after your brother's sudden death just months ago, the defendant began harassing your family for financial benefits, and you are here to defend his honor by proving he is not the biological father of her 3-month-old daughter, Nevaeh.
Oh boy, here we go. Ms. Lee steps up with a bold claim that the deceased, Kevin Harris, is definitely the father of her daughter and is counting on today's test results to prove her right and clear her name amidst these serious accusations. Stick around, the plot thickens and you won't believe what's next.
Is 100% your daughter's father, and say today's results will prove your case and clear your name. Ms. Thompson, so how positive are you that he is not the father?
I'm 100% positive.
This next bit is a doozy. Ms. Thompson is adamant, 100% certain that Kevin Harris is not the father, echoing his own beliefs. She recounts her brother's harsh words describing Ms. Lee as a money-hungry, compulsive liar, which sends the audience into a whirl of gasps and murmurs. Hang tight, because what's coming up will flip the script.
My brother was 100% positive that he was not the father. He stated that Ms. Lee was a money-hungry, compulsive liar.
What else did he tell you?
Well, told me that basically she was just one of the ladies that he was sleeping with at the time, and she claimed to be pregnant by him.
But he did not believe that?
No.
Grab your popcorn, things are about to get even spicier. The story deepens as Ms. Thompson details her brother's tangled romantic involvements, emphasizing his disbelief in Ms. Lee's pregnancy claims. Her tale is bolstered by her snooping discoveries of incriminating photos and texts on her brother's phone. Don't touch that dial. The revelations just keep coming.
I got to asking, who is this lady? One of the ladies happened to be her, and he told me, this is the girl who claims that she's pregnant by me.
When he said that, did you say, well, are you the father or not?
I did ask him, again, like, what do you mean claims to be pregnant by you? Is she pregnant? He was like, yes, she's pregnant, but it's not my baby.
Did he tell you why he was so certain he was not the father?
He didn't believe he was the father just because of her reputation.
Strap in for this wild ride of a conception story. Ms. Lee shares her version of how she became pregnant, pinpointing a specific encounter with Kevin Harris. She details her immediate physical reactions, which she interpreted as signs of pregnancy, despite skepticism that maybe it was just the cocktail mix from last night. You'll want to stay seated for the next part. It's a real cliffhanger.
But you were sleeping with him, right?
Right, and I know exactly what happened when we got pregnant, what day, all of that. He called me, and I was hanging out with friends at a hotel. He came and got me. We went to the house. We did what we did. After that, I cleaned up, and after I cleaned up, I threw up, and my body reacted and started changing automatic. And I found out. And I went to the store the next day, and I got 2 pregnancy tests, and they both came positive. I called him. He said, "Oh, that's not my baby."
Things are heating up, and not just from the courtroom lights. During a fiery debate about Ms. Lee's previous pregnancy claims, probing questions about their unprotected relationship surface, laying bare the complexities and disputes about their connections. Next up, revelations that will make your jaw drop.
Now we'll return to our regularly scheduled programming. The obvious question is, were you just already pregnant?
No, ma'am. And I
Your
got
Honor, this isn't the first time that she claimed to be pregnant by him.
That's why I ain't never, I don't want to be pregnant. You hear me? I ain't never walked around talking about, look how little I am. Come on now.
All right, hold on. Saying this is the second time?
From his
What do you
word,
mean?
That was the second time she claimed to be pregnant by him.
Can it get any more intense? Yes, it can. As Ms. Thompson recounts the disrespect her family endured from Ms. Lee following Kevin's death, she describes a fiery clash over belongings Ms. Lee claimed from Kevin's estate, which she insists were rightfully hers. Brace yourself. The emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
The only reason my family even have issues with Miss Lee is because of the constant disrespect to my family.
What disrespect have I gave them?
The day after we found out he was deceased, she and her friend, went to the house.
And I got my belongings
No,
I bought
no,
them,
ma'am.
which is
No,
the
ma'am.
Jordan's birthday,
No,
a
ma'am.
Jordan shirt,
Your Honor.
some Jordan
Your
socks,
Honor.
and the rest
But they
of
were
the stuff that I
all-
bought.
Hold on. What happened?
You're
Ms.
exactly
Thompson?
right, and he's dead and deceased, so I'm gonna take what I bought, of course.
You won't believe this twist. As the court delves into potential financial support for the child, Ms. Lee's questions about a will and Social Security benefits stir up a hornet's nest of family mistrust and financial desperation. Stay tuned. The crescendo of this family feud is up next.
A lot of people that we grew up with, friends, family, and whatnot, come and they donated so that we can bury my brother. And the day after the barbecue, one of my family members gets a phone call from Miss Lee stating, "When is the reading of the will? My baby's entitled to something."
That is a
Benefit
lie.
barbecue.
I asked her mom for the Social Security number,
was the day
baby. That is a lie. I ain't
That was
said
the
nothing about no
then.
will. For one,
The stakes couldn't be higher as the truth starts spilling. The climax approaches as family ties and truths are dissected, with relatives shedding light on the nebulous nature of Ms. Lee and Kevin's relationship. This critical juncture is key to understanding the deep-seated family tensions and contested narratives. What follows is a revelation that could change everything. Get ready!
You believe this young woman was sleeping with someone else, or were you asking for it because your
my
brother
said. That's what
expressed?
my brother said.
I was asking because, number one, my brother did not believe it was his child. And number two, just to get everything cleared all up.
Were you
there's no
offended,
question.
Miss Lee, when they asked for the DNA test, or were you
You're
understanding?
exactly right.
You
because
were offended.
For one, look at her. Dad, I don't have to get no DNA test when I wasn't the one creeping and sleeping around with other
He wasn't
people.
creeping.
And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Nevaeh Harris is related to Miss. That is your brother's child.
It's okay. Well, you still don't need him, baby.
Mr. Cleveland expresses doubt about paternity due to infidelity. Just when you thought it was a normal day in court, Mr. Cleveland admits that he has doubts about being the biological father of his son, Hunter, due to his wife's past infidelity. He confirms his suspicion and distress over the situation, deeply troubled by the thought that Hunter might not be his. Brace yourself, the drama is just getting started.
Mr. Cleveland, you admit that your wife was unfaithful and you have good reason to doubt Hunter is yours. Additionally, you have petitioned the court for a lie detector test for your wife to determine the extent of her infidelity. What is the state of your marriage right now?
Our marriage is currently on the rocks. We argue on the daily. I see him treating our son differently than he does his daughter, and it bothers me inside.
I try not to treat him any differently.
Mr. Cleveland struggles with emotional attachment to Hunter. Talk about a tough situation. Mr. Cleveland describes his emotional turmoil when interacting with Hunter, revealing that he sometimes doesn't see his own features in his son, which causes him significant distress. He admits to having to put Hunter down and walk away because it's too hard for him to cope. Keep watching. It's only going to get more intense.
That makes a person really emotionally upset. There are times that I'm holding him and I look at him and I don't see me in him and I have to set him down and walk away because it's too
He's
hard
only
to handle
1.5
sometimes.
years old. He has a whole life to grow and to get more features that resemble my husband.
I don't see it. I see so many features that aren't me. And
So
it
you
makes me
just
wonder.
don't see yourself when you hold him. And this, I'm sure, is affecting him in some ways, but affecting your marriage as well.
Yes,
a lot.
Mr. Cleveland feels like he's living a lie. This is a real doozy. During the session, Mr. Cleveland expresses his frustration and emotional pain, feeling as if his life is a sham because he doesn't know if Hunter is his biological child. His suspicion is compounded by the ongoing issues in his marriage and his wife's infidelity. Hang on, there's more turmoil ahead.
I mean, I feel like I'm living a lie, Your Honor.
Why do you feel that way?
I'm in a marriage. My wife's a cheater. I don't know if this little guy is mine or not.
I am not a cheater. I didn't cheat on.
Who are you texting?
It was an old friend of mine from school.
But isn't that cheating of some form? Isn't that at least emotional cheating?
It is, John.
It is.
I was ready to call it quit. I was ready for a divorce. He finds out that I kissed this guy and he wants to be husband of the world, you know? He wanted to be a perfect husband.
Stephanie reveals the paternity uncertainty post-birth. Did you see that curveball coming? A significant revelation occurs when Mr. Cleveland recounts that a month after Hunter was born, Stephanie informed him of the possibility that Hunter might not be his. This moment deepens the paternity issue as it introduces the potential involvement of Mr. Cleveland's friend. The plot thickens. Stay tuned.
So how did it go wrong and get to the point where you didn't believe this child was your child?
A month after he was born, she informed me that he could possibly not be
Your Honor,
mine.
that is not true. I told him the first month I was pregnant that it could be his or his friend.
Now.
Wait, what? What did you say?
A month pregnant, and I told him it could be his child, but it could also be his friend's. Me and his friend had a sexual relationship.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
Stephanie admits to emotional cheating. Whoa, did she really just say that? Stephanie confesses to sending emotionally charged messages to another man, admitting that it constitutes cheating. This disclosure highlights the deep issues in their marriage related to trust and emotional fidelity. Watch out, the next part is a real kicker.
She liked that he had money, Your Honor.
Your Honor, that's not
I was
true.
at a down and out point in my life. She liked the fact that he had more money.
He didn't even have a job, Your Honor.
I don't know what they were spending the money on,
Cleveland, what was it about this relationship that attracted you? Because you had unprotected sex with this person.
Yes.
Adam fears the marriage might end pending test results. Now, this is where things really heat up. As the court session nears its conclusion, Mr. Cleveland voices his anxieties about the future of their marriage. He states that if the lie detector and paternity tests prove unfavorable, he might not be able to continue in the marriage, underscoring the high stakes of the outcomes. You won't want to miss what comes next.
You know, since then, she's told me, there's a possibility he's not. And we've been waiting for the chance to see if he's mine or not, and I really need to know.
And that's exactly why we're here.
If he's not mine, and if the lie detector test proves that she is lying, I'm afraid this marriage is going to be over. I can't continue to do this. I really can't.
Ms. Cleveland, the stakes are high here today.
It hurts. It hurts a lot.
Paternity results revealed Mr. Cleveland is not the father. Get ready for the big reveal. The climactic moment of the episode arrives as the paternity test results are read.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cleveland,
yes,
you are not the father.
I thought so. I really thought so. I mean, I see it.
Grab some popcorn. This is going to be good. Miss Morrow confesses she's been duped for 30 years. Today, she's here to determine if her dad is actually her dad or if her uncle pulled a sneaky switcheroo on her. The suspense is real, folks. Get ready, because the next chapter is a doozy.
Ms. Morrow, you say you've been living a lie 30 years. You stand before the court today ready to finally find out whether your biological father is the man you grew up believing to be your dad or if his brother, Mr. Curry, is your father.
Things are getting spicy. Mr. Curry admits to a wild night that could have rewritten the family tree. He's not convinced he's the father, citing a cast of possible characters who could also be on the paternity bill. Up next, the plot thickens even more.
Now, Mr. Curry, you admit to sleeping with plaintiff's mother one time after a wild night of partying.
Yes,
but
Your
you
Honor.
say you don't believe you're her biological father because there were other possibilities as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not going to believe this twist. The crowd gasps as Miss Morrow drops a bombshell. The DNA test says her dad isn't her dad. Introduced to her so-called dad at a tender age, she never saw him again until a surprise letter at 15. The intrigue just skyrocketed. Keep watching, it's about to get even wilder.
I thought was my biological father. Did a DNA test himself after 30 years. It came back that he wasn't my father. So basically for 30 years, I lived this lie thinking that he was my father. I never met him until I was about 7 years old at a court for child support or something. I briefly stepped off the elevator, said, "Amanda, this is your father." He said, "Hi, how are you?" That was it. Until I was 15, randomly a letter came in the mail from him saying that I'm your father, I want to be in your life.
Hold on to your seats, this ride's getting bumpier. When it turns out the DNA sample might have had a day out in the sun or a month, skepticism rises. This mishandling could mean the results are as mixed up as a reality TV plot. Don't go anywhere. The confusion is just ramping up.
And this was an at-home test.
He purchased the
and
test.
he left his sample sitting where for a month?
He said in his car for a couple weeks, and then when...
Conflicting story there. He told me he left it on his refrigerator.
And he told told me he left it in the car for 2 weeks, and then when he mailed it, it got mailed back to him because there wasn't enough postage on it. So that's when this all started. When he mailed me that part for me, he mailed me two samples. One for my mother, one for me.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, amid the family drama, Miss Morrow reveals her mother's harrowing past, throwing another layer of complexity into the mix. Now there are multiple potential fathers and a story that could rival any primetime thriller. Next up, even more jaw-droppers.
I find out that you lied to me. And then that's when she came out and said, Amanda, I never wanted you to know the truth. When I was young, I was gang raped by 3 men, and you're a victim of that rape, and David's not your father. I didn't believe that story.
So I wouldn't believe it either because
he was one of them.
I was the first one to sleep with her. I slept with her one time.
You slept with Ms. Morrow's mother.
Correct. Then I introduced her at a party to my brother, which she started sleeping with him.
Like, why not say, I don't know who your father is? Why say this David Curry is my father?
As the mystery deepens, so does the family tree. Yet another potential dad enters the scene, expanding the paternity quest and ensuring no one in the courtroom can keep track without a scorecard. The family dynamics here are wilder than a holiday dinner gone wrong. Stay tuned, the saga continues with more twists.
Who I'm close with, he said, hey, Uncle Ken knows something. And that's when Ken reached out to me and told me that he slept with my mother, another man slept with my mother, another man slept with my mother. He told me the name of the other man that David and he both thought was my father all these years.
All of these men, on top of that, you do a DNA test with the man you believe to be your father, and there's an issue with the sample.
Correct.
This document is a game changer, folks. We dive into a paternity acknowledgement signed decades ago, yet he's mysteriously absent from the birth certificate, thickening the plot and adding legal intrigue to this familial puzzle. What's next? More surprises that you didn't see coming.
I read a message David sent to me that my mother sent to David, stating, I hope you do the DNA test so I can spit in your face for doubting that she's your daughter. And then I also read that he signed a paternity agreement when I was just about 18 months old, which I have a copy of. I went to the courthouse to find this myself. I never knew about it, stating that he's my father. He's not on my birth certificate because he didn't do the DNA sample.
This is, in fact, an acknowledgement of paternity.
Prepare for your jaws to hit the floor. The DNA results are in, and
Amanda, Mr. Kenneth Curry is not your father.
Sorry, sweetheart.
Jerome greets Judge Lake and introduces the case of Ramos Veers Edwards. He provides a brief overview, setting the stage for the day's proceedings. The courtroom atmosphere is formal and anticipatory, but Jerome manages to throw in his usual charm, making everyone crack a small smile despite the serious vibes.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Ramos versus Edwards.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Ramos, you are in court to prove that your ex-fiance, Mr. Edwards, fathered your 1-month-old son, Xavier.
Ms. Ramos explains why she is in court, to prove that Mr. Edwards is the father of her 1-month-old son, Xavier. She details how Mr. Edwards' infidelities came to light after she announced her pregnancy, explaining it with a hint of drama, as if she's narrating a soap opera. The tension in her voice suggests the emotional strain of the situation, yet she manages to add a sarcastic quip about Mr. Edwards' sudden popularity among the ladies.
You claim that after sharing your news, you were pregnant with his baby, women he was secretly cheating with started coming out of the woodwork trying to convince him he's not the dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Edwards expresses his doubts about being Xavier's father, citing changes in the due date and suggesting Ms. Ramos' infidelity. He brings up a bombshell witness he has brought to support his case, teasing the courtroom like he's about to unveil a surprise guest on a game show. The atmosphere in the courtroom grows tense with these allegations, yet Mr. Edwards' dramatic flair adds an almost theatrical element to the proceedings.
You say there's no way you are the father and claim the plaintiff changed up her due date to cover up her own infidelities. You say you brought a bombshell witness who will reveal the truth and seal your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramos, you say you're fed up with his drama. Tell me why.
I'm fed up with his lies, his manipulation. He does this to other people. I'm not the only one. How can you deny such a beautiful baby?
Judge Lake probes deeper into the nature of Ms. Ramos and Mr. Edwards' relationship. Their past engagement and history are discussed, revealing complexities in their relationship before and after the pregnancy. The conversation highlights their troubled interactions and mistrust, yet both parties occasionally throw in humorous jabs that lighten the mood ever so slightly.
I seen them again last year. At first, I was kind of hesitant, but like in my mind, I'm the type that's like, gives the people a benefit of doubt that they change after a while. And I gave him that benefit of the doubt. But then that's when he started doing the cheating from the whole time. And yes, I did have sex with an ex of mine, but that was after the fact. Me and him wasn't even actually in a relationship. Like,
wait a minute. You all are in a relationship.
It was really not that serious in the beginning.
As more details emerge about Ms. Ramos's actions during her pregnancy, Mr. Edwards explains why he suspects she was unfaithful. He refers to multiple instances of her infidelity, which he believes led to his doubts about paternity. The discussion becomes heated and contentious, but Mr. Edwards can't help but compare the drama to a bad reality TV show.
In this courtroom, that sounds like family.
Right.
Because families do that.
Right.
So now, family or not, it's still another potential father. At least in his mind, you believe that there's a doubt.
It was a triangle. She slept with two people
I disagree.
at the beginning.
I wasn't, first
Excuse
of
me,
all,
can
the
I
person
finish?
I was in a
Can I
relationship
finish?
with,
Can I
was living
finish?
there, but he wasn't living there
Can
with
I-
me.
Okay, so Ms. Ramos, listen, I will give you a chance to refute the testimony, but you've got to at least let them testify.
Ms. Ramos presents photos of Mr. Edwards at the hospital, which show him appearing happy and involved during Xavier's birth. The judge notes the contradiction between his joyful appearance and his paternity doubts. The photos serve as emotional evidence, complicating Mr. Edwards' claims, and Judge Lake can't resist commenting on Mr. Edwards' photogenic smile amidst the chaos.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Let me look at this evidence first. You've presented the court with pictures.
Yes, I have.
Beautiful pictures of it looks like a couple just welcomed their baby into the world.
Exactly. Look at that.
Mr. Edwards, you look pretty happy.
He looks just like him. That's what hurt.
Jerome, I want you to give Mr. Edwards a close-up look at this picture. Matter of fact, send him this one too. Mr. Edwards, I'm looking at these pictures presented to the court. Sure.
A witness, Ms. Vaughn, is brought in to testify about the rumors and circumstances surrounding Xavier's conception and birth timing. Her testimony adds another layer of doubt and complexity to the case, intensifying the courtroom drama. Ms. Vaughn's dramatic entrance and gossipy tone feel like she's more ready for a reality show than a court proceeding.
Please escort her into the courtroom.
She's only been here since around February. She's a nobody. So,
To the witness stand next to the judge.
because you're sleeping with her too.
Ms. Vaughn, thank you for joining us today. We are here discussing the paternity of baby Xavier. What do you have to add to this?
When he said she was pregnant, it was already a rumor going around that she was pregnant before they started talking by somebody else.
Disagree.
Everybody knew about it.
Well, that's because everybody's always making up lies because nobody likes me.
The climax of the episode occurs as Judge Lake reads the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
Thank you. I want you to apologize to our son. I want you to apologize to him because I told you since day one.
The courtroom buzzes with anticipation as the case of Chmielewski versus Brown Long 3 kicks off, announced by the court clerk with a flair for the dramatic. Ms. Chmielewski asserts she had a loving 5-year roller coaster of a romance with the defendant's late son Georgie, and now needs the grandparents to acknowledge her son Xavier as their kin. You won't believe what comes next in this family saga.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Chmielewski versus Brown Long III.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Chmielewski, you say you had a 5-year relationship with the defendant's son, Georgie, who unfortunately died in a motorcycle accident. You claim the defendants initially accepted your son, Xavier, but now need proof that they are Xavier's grandparents.
Judge Lake dives right into the drama, turning to the defendants with a skeptical eyebrow raised. Mrs. Brown and Mr. Long counter with strong denials, claiming total ignorance of Ms. Chmielewski and labeling her story as a complete fabrication. Strap in. The plot thickens as accusations fly.
Mrs. Brown and Mr. Long, you say you don't know Ms. Chmielewski and claim your son was never in a relationship with her. He has made up a fairy tale love affair with Georgie, and he is not Xavier's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Chmielewski, what is riding on today's results for you and your son?
My son needs his family. He calls her Nana, and she's been in his life. We need answers. He has nobody.
Amid sniffles and heart-wrenching sobs, Ms. Chmielewski recounts the tragic day she found out about Georgie's motorcycle accident through her sister, after he ghosted her calls, literally. The raw emotion she displays sets a somber tone, but hold tight, because the family secrets are just starting to unravel.
For 5 years?
Yeah.
So how did you find out
And
he
was him
passed
having a
away?
girlfriend? He had a girlfriend. I know his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
no matter who we were with, still had sexual relations.
Who told you he passed away?
My sister. I just kept calling his phone and he wasn't answering.
Now, at that point that you found out that he passed, did you call his parents, or you felt like you didn't know
I didn't
them?
have their
I don't
numbers.
know her. I didn't know her.
In a twist you didn't see coming, Mrs. Brown steps up to claim she was the first to reach out post-tragedy, trying to piece together the mysterious connections. This revelation shakes up the narrative and raises the stakes. Watch out for what's thrown into the mix next.
At what point did you finally decide I need to reach out to his parents because
She didn't. I reached
they
out
may
to
be
her.
his
Oh,
I reached out to her.
Okay, my son is not here. I'm picking up where he left off.
Take your time. I know it's hard. Go ahead.
The courtroom gets heated as Ms. Chmielewski insists that little Xavier is the spitting image of Georgie, which Mrs. Brown vehemently disputes, stirring the pot with claims about the child's distinct biracial features. This family feud is getting spicier by the minute.
What had happened was she says that this baby's Georgie's. 2 years passed. Only reason why I pursued this is because a friend of Georgie's, very close friend, told him, you need to find out if this baby is Georgie. So it's other people in the neighborhood must be saying something because he came to me after 2 years. He brought this to my attention. It went over my head.
You told me that he looks like all your other grandkids.
Ms. Chmielewski explains the delicate dance of a relationship Georgie had with Xavier, marked by hesitation and rare visits due to his uncertainty about fatherhood. It's a tangled web of emotions and doubts, but just wait until you hear what's revealed next.
Did Georgie accept Xavier? Did they have a relationship?
He saw him a couple times, took pictures together, and
5-year relationship, you only saw him a couple times?
No, with the baby.
Why did he only see the baby a couple times when he was almost a year old?
He wasn't positive if it was his or not. So he didn't want to get too close. He just wanted to know if the baby was his.
When did you tell Georgie you had a baby?
The plot thickens as we learn both potential dads of Xavier are deceased, complicating the paternity puzzle even further. Ms. Chmielewski's efforts to connect with the other potential father's family hit a brick wall, setting the stage for more courtroom drama. Grab your popcorn. This emotional roller coaster isn't slowing down.
So it's one other, you saying?
Yeah, it's him and the other guy.
Oh, one other man, okay.
Yeah.
No.
Did you ever tell the other guy?
He had passed away when I was 5 months pregnant.
Oh.
He had got murdered. Family member of mine had contacted his family. They did not respond until Xavier turned 2, and they said if I come up with the money, then they'll do the test.
So both potential fathers of this beautiful little boy had passed away?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tensions escalate as the debate over whether Xavier should call Mrs. Brown Nana unfolds, touching on the deep emotional implications and the grandmother's cautious approach to the unconfirmed paternity. The next part of this saga will have you on the edge of your seat.
Chmielewski, when you talk to Xavier about his father, he's 2 now. Do you talk to him about his father? Who do you tell him his father is?
I tell him Georgie's.
See, that's the problem.
What do you tell him?
That he watches his videos, and I say, that's...
And he points to the videos and says, Daddy.
Mm-hmm. He calls him Daddy.
Because either way, Georgie told me no matter what the results were when he was alive, that he was going to be in his life. Yes,
Georgie couldn't even take care of himself.
I know, I understand that.
Enter the supernatural. Ms. Chmielewski presents a video allegedly capturing Georgie's spirit, which she believes watches over Xavier. Skepticism abounds as Mrs. Brown and others suspect it's just a smoky trick of the light. The courtroom turns into a Ghost Hunters episode, and you won't want to miss what happens when they slow down the footage.
So you say this is a video of your son, Xavier, and in the video you can see Georgie's spirit.
I said it looks like a spirit.
Okay, talk me through this video.
We're sitting in the car right now, and my friend is videotaping him and talking to him, and as you can see on the right, there is like this cloudy thing that comes out of nowhere, and my son looks at it, and then it goes away.
Let me see that again, please. This is slow motion. A white cloud right there.
The moment of truth arrives with heart-pounding intensity as Judge Lake delivers the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Brown and Mr. Long and Xavier Chmielewski is 0%.
The courtroom drama kicks off with a touch of formality as everyone gets settled. The judge initiates the proceedings with a call to be seated, and the stage is set for the case of Brown versus Lever. Mr. Brown confidently steps up, asserting his belief that he is the biological father of Jira Lever, despite Ms. Lever's adamant denial. The atmosphere thickens with tension, promising an unfolding saga of family drama.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Brown versus Lever.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Brown, you say you have always believed you were the biological father of the defendant's daughter, Jira Lever. You have loved her and taken care of her, but now the defendant is denying you are Jira's dad. You are hoping today's results prove your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown wastes no time pouring his heart out, emphasizing his deep emotional and physical commitment to Jira, whom he believes to be his daughter. He passionately recounts his fatherly duties, from feeding to doctor's appointments, painting a vivid picture of his dedication. The emotional stakes are sky high, and Mr. Brown's conviction only adds more fuel to the fiery debate.
Why are you so sure
you are Jaira's father.
Your Honor, I know that I'm Jaira's father. I mean, from the very beginning. That's my heart. She's attached to my hip. I've been taking care of her since day one. Fed her, bathed her, clothed her, taking her to her doctor's appointments. When Mom couldn't be there, I was there. And although I know for a fact that Jaira is my daughter, she looks like all of my children.
Just when you think it couldn't get more intense, Ms. Lever throws a curveball. She firmly states that Mr. Brown was not present during the critical period of Jaira's conception, having been replaced temporarily by her ex. As the accusations fly, the courtroom becomes a battleground of words, with each party clinging to their version of the truth. The plot thickens, and the audience is on the edge of their seats.
He is not biologically her father. During the time that she was conceived, he wasn't really even around. I had been with my ex. I just know.
So did you allow him to believe he was her biological father?
No. I always told Mr. Brown that he was not her father.
Did she always tell you that, Mr. Brown?
Not in the beginning, Your Honor.
That's not
What
true.
did she say in the beginning?
In the beginning, there was really no conversation as far as the paternity of Jaira.
The story takes a twist when a mutual friend drops a bomb at a football game, suggesting Mr. Brown might not be the father after all. Despite this shocking revelation, Mr. Brown remains unwavering, detailing the inseparability between him and Ms. Lever during his time at home. The narrative weaves through doubts and certainty, with Mr. Brown defending his position as a true partner and potential father. The drama escalates, setting the stage for even more revelations.
They also told me that there was a possibility that I might not be the father. Although I had heard this afterwards from other people, there was no doubt in my mind that Jaira was my daughter. She mentioned that I had been away. I do environmental work. And so I'm gone maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'm home for a week. But during the time that I'm home, Ms. Lever and I were inseparable. You know, we did everything together. Even if it was just a 5-minute grocery store trip, we were together.
In a dramatic turn of events, Ms. Lever steps up to a visual exhibit to lay down the timeline of Jaira's conception. She recounts a period of emotional vulnerability shared with her ex, leading to a rekindled romance amidst family crisis. The courtroom resonates with her story of complex emotional entanglements and the implications of their brief reunion. The air is thick with anticipation as the story unfolds further.
Okay, so during the time that Jaira was conceived, I was dealing with a family crisis. Also, my ex was also dealing with the same crisis. During that time, we bonded and we kind of rekindled things, and that's the time in which Jaira was conceived.
April 2011, you were dealing with a sick family member.
Yes, ma'am.
The next part of this exhibit says July 2011, what was going on?
My ex and I, we were intimate at the hospital during that time.
Amidst the turmoil, Mr. Brown recounts a vivid July 4th memory where intimacy rekindled with Ms. Lever at their home, directly contradicting her account. He describes a spontaneous romantic encounter that he insists aligns with the conception timeline. The courtroom chuckles and gasps at the vivid details, wondering where the truth really lies as the saga continues.
Ms. Lever and I also were intimate July 4th in our home by the back door.
Oh my
God. We were outside, it's 4th of July. My children, our children, went down the street where my niece lives to pop fireworks with my nieces and nephews. Miss Lever and I were sitting out on the back. One thing led to another. We ended up on the inside of the house by the back door on the floor. This was July 4th of 2011.
The debate heats up over Jaira's last name, with Mr. Brown insisting it includes Brown, his surname, while Ms. Lever refutes this claim. The judge intervenes, examining the birth certificate only to confirm Ms. Lever's statement. No Brown in sight. The plot twist adds another layer of complexity to the case, promising more jaw-dropping moments just around the corner.
Like, this is my ex, you know? And when I end up getting pregnant, I felt like it was my right to tell him so that he can move forward.
But so you felt like you were just trying to be honest and say, this really isn't your child. And you felt like you and your ex had prior history, and it was not fair of you to make Mr. Brown believe Jaira was his biological child.
Amidst the heated discussions about Jaira, another child, Genesis, enters the fray. Her paternity also in question. The couple's tumultuous relationship takes center stage, revealing a mosaic of love, betrayal, and parental responsibility. Their spirited exchange reveals deep-seated issues and unresolved tensions, paving the way for an explosive revelation of the DNA results.
You have a second child who's in question
Pippen.
Yeah.
Genesis.
Yes, ma'am. Can I say something?
Even when we broke up, Your Honor, we were still intimate. When she first got her car, she bought a brand new Camaro. She came and picked me up, and we broke the Camaro in, so to speak.
Oh my God.
Mr. Brown, do you believe you are Genesis'
Your-
biological father?
No, I do not.
Oh, you do not believe?
The time that Genesis was conceived, Your Honor, Miss Lever was involved with another individual that I saw with my eyes personally.
In a moment of high drama, the DNA results for Genesis are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
One, they can sit down. Jerome introduces the spicy case of Lewis, Hornegay versus Pippen, with his usual flair. Everyone exchanges hellos, setting the stage for the drama that's about to unfold. Is ready to lay down the law on Mr. Pippen, who she claims is dodging daddy duties for their kids. Mr. Pippen, on the other hand, is all cool confidence, armed with what he claims is rock-solid proof that he's not the father. Buckle up, because this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Yes, ma'am. I was staying in Tarboro at the time with Miss Sanders.
Miss Lewis isn't having any of it, arguing with soul-stirring emotion that Mr. Pippen was very much around when conception could have happened. She paints a picture of a man who's there one day and gone the next, leaving everyone in the courtroom reaching for tissues. Don't go anywhere. The emotional roller coaster is just hitting its stride.
Your child, Quayshawn, was conceived May 25th, around that area. It is your contention, Mr. Pippen, Miss Sanders, that Mr. Pippen wasn't even around?
He wasn't, because he was living with me in Tarboro.
As we wade deeper into the drama, allegations fly about Mr. Pippen possibly rigging the DNA test. With a nurse in the family, Miss Lewis's camp suggests some sneaky bathroom breaks might have been more about DNA deception than nature's call. What will the judge make of all? Hold on to your hats as the DNA results are revealed. And guess what?
Determined by this court, Mr. Pippen, you are his father.
Thank you.
I told you.
I do. That's what I want to know the whole